This is the story of a reunion, a very special get-together involving some of auto racing's greatest cars. At the 50th anniversary celebration of the Le Mans 24-hour endurance race, several British enthusiasts decided to invite a collection of British cars to reenact the voyage from England to France that cars and drivers had taken over the 5 decades of competing at Le Mans, and to assemble at the world-famous racecourse before the start of the upcoming event. Several examples of 5 different makes took part in this tribute to British successes at Le Mans. Jaguar, which dominated the race throughout the 50s by winning 5 times in that decade and once finishing second. Aston Martin, whose only victory at Le Mans happened in 1959 with Carroll Shelby and Roy Salvadori driving. Bentley, with a string of Le Mans victories in 1924, 1927, 28, 29, and 30. The British campaigned Ford GT40 of John Wyer and David York that won the race in 1969. And the 1935 winner of Le Mans, a carefully restored 1935 Lagonda. The story began in London, where the cars assembled and got a royal send-off, literally, from the Earl of York, whose father won at Le Mans. From there, the cars gathered at the docks at New Haven, England, for the voyage across the English Channel to France. The 24 Hours of Le Mans, without question, is the most prestigious sports car race in the world, and second only perhaps to the Indy 500 in its worldwide notoriety. 50 years ago, the French countryside, some 130 miles south of Paris, was a year-round picture postcard filled with quiet, idyllic scenery. Except in June, when brave racing drivers from every corner of Europe took to the roads of this tranquil farmland and made names for themselves and the cars they drove. Peter Walker for Jaguar, Roy Salvadori for Aston Martin, the quiet Belgian Olivier Gendebien for Ferrari. These men and many more have competed in this grueling race, a race that becomes almost a cultural melting pot within itself every June, as hundreds of thousands of people establish a mini-continent around the 8.4-mile course. And from 3 p.m. on the day of the start until 24 hours later, when the race finishes on the following day, the excitement, celebration, and blinding speed stop for no one. In the early years of Le Mans, drivers did what the reunion participants are so faithfully recreating, actually driving the cars they raced to the racetrack. In today's atmosphere of ultra-sophisticated engines, fabulously expensive carbon fiber bodywork, and big-dollar sponsorship, it seems almost incomprehensible that driving the race car to the track to compete for 24 hours was the custom of the day. The C-Type and D-Type Jaguars have a long, proud history of success at Le Mans. This car won in 1955. And the next car was the winner in 1956. The winner in 1957 was also a Jaguar, the car that defined endurance racing excellence in the 50s. After that decade, Jaguar did not win again at Le Mans until 1988. British racing commentator James Tilley, who has been to Le Mans many times, says the key to winning this race is actually threefold: talent, power, and mechanical upkeep, which means...
It's a tripod. It's the drivers, the car, and the équipe. And if they're not equally, like a tripod, spaced, so that not one leg is longer than the other, the thing will topple, and you won't win.
As the cars negotiate the narrow city streets of southern France, it's hard not to compare the old and the new of automotive technology. In 1935, this Lagonda was considered the state-of-the-art in sports motoring, as were the 3-liter, 4.5-liter, and 6.5-liter Bentleys of that era. The Ford GT40 of John Wyer that won Le Mans in 1969 represents the dominance that Ford enjoyed at Le Mans during the middle and late 60s. Ford won Le Mans 4 times altogether, with great drivers like Bruce McLaren, Dan Gurney, Mario Andretti, and A.J. Foyt at the wheel. But this GT40 was campaigned by the Brits, and as the English contingent arrives at the racecourse in Le Mans, they attract enormous attention from race fans of every nationality. The reunion organizer, Dennis Miller Williams, comments on how the reunion came about.
Well, I came to Le Mans last year for the very first time, and during the quiet moments of the night, while we were still at the circuit watching the racing, I realized that this year would be the 50th race, and that looking at the Autosport summary of past races, found out that Britain had contributed more to Le Mans' success in terms of outright winners than any other country. And knowing the Bentley Drivers Club and one or two other people in the industry, we decided it might be rather fun to see if we can get the cars together and bring them over here.
In fact, there have been British cars in the winner's circle at Le Mans 16 times over the history of the race. The great cars and equally great drivers that have lived the dream of winning here have filled the history books of racing with page after page of colorful, unfading memories. And this evocative reunion of some of England's greatest nameplates may be the best way yet of commemorating the accomplishments of all the shining stars of the past that have conquered the 24 hours of Le Mans.